This is a new fashionable way to wear a silver coin, and it's a silver belt. And it's probably going to be the new fashion and social dress code for Iran after a conflict occurs with them. It seems like there might be. So this will be the new dress attire in Iran. None of the black with the freaking veils and all that other garbage. It's probably going to be something like this, a little more Persian style with the silver coin. The silver coin money belt in full display. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some of the politics that goes on. It's probably going to relate more to silver. And I think that, yesterday, actually, I came to light about this Valerie Jarrett, I believe her name is. Yeah, Jarrett. She basically is the #1 advisor to Obama. Now, I always thought, maybe Soros was, or Brzezinski, or whatever, and I'm sure they got a lot of pull, but basically this woman basically controls who gets around them. She's been around with the Obamas since the Obamas were, small in politics, and she's introduced them to a lot of people basically early on and helped their career grow, and she's always been a confidant of them and a main advisor. Very interesting, because it could be, in my opinion, she may be what is actually the thorn in the side to why some people are dissatisfied with Obama. Possibly. Possibly. I think it is, to tell you the truth. Now, what does that have to do with the price of silver? Well, according to White House Insider, Obama is actually very desperate right now, and he's worried about his political career, and he's actually considered let's use the actual thing right here. This is from White House Insider, and by Ulsterman actually wrote this article. White House Insider: Obama in serious trouble, and that makes him very dangerous. He owes them for everything. Everything he's got, they gave it to him. Everything. The guy's Manchurian to the shoes on his feet. White House Insider. So, I also want to relate that to how, basically this one woman who's not really somebody really that high up in industry. She's very smart. She's an attorney. She actually was born and raised in Iran from American parents. And, I find that an interesting twist too, because that might have something to do with why Obama is not necessarily going along with some things about policy with Iran. That, like, for instance, Israel has a fear that if Iran was to be attacked by them, that the Obama administration would tip off the Iranians that Israel would do that. So it kind of puts them in a hard prediction as a surprise attack if they should work with the United States or go it alone. And I'm wondering if it's just Obama that is the problem. It may be her, considering that she was born in Iran, she grew up there, and she spoke fluent Persian. It's a little bit of speculation on my part, but it makes everything a very interesting twist. And it may have something to do with why Obama is not necessarily on the side of Israel in a lot of ways. Not that you should necessarily be on the side of Israel. You should be on the side of the United States first, because you're an American. But in this case of, what obviously is going on for me, that, I know Westerners think. They tend to think the huggy-feely stories that, the Iranians are just a bunch of kitten lovers and stuff like that, I'll tell you the truth, they're not. They're not the leadership. The religious leadership are a bunch of kooks. I'll just put it that way. I know the Westerners don't want to believe that. Westerners are basically stupid, but what can I say? Now, I just want to talk a little bit about this silver chart on a weekly. Now, we've had a long slide here, and then we had 3 bullish hammers, and then yesterday it looked like this was going to be up on a weekly. I would almost suspect that it's going to be down tomorrow again, And I was talking about yesterday on the daily how we had this little rise here. I said, is the bubble, like it shouldn't really call it a bubble in silver, but it could be knocked down by one word out of Bernanke's mouth. And basically, he's not really hinting at QE. And there is a lot of damage to the productivity of manufacturing that's going on throughout the world. Things are slowing down greatly. The Baltic Dry Index has been declining for May. The global manufacturing index is down, and it actually, unofficially, by actually good numbers from HSBC, China should be around at 48 on the index instead of around 50. And 50 was a big decline from where it was the month before. So it's actually in contraction. China's been buying commodities, been buying steel and stuff like that, but they got no more room to store it. And actually the steel factories are just running on minimal personnel to keep them open. So this is going on with everything. So this could actually slide down some more. And it makes a little more sense to look at it on the weekly. You might see another red tick mark here on the weekly, depending on what happens tomorrow, and I think it's going to be down. Now, what I want to contend with is I'm wondering how this top presidential senior advisor to Obama is actually going to influence the price of silver. And I'm actually wondering how she could do this, because this is Valerie Jarrett. And this Wikipedia story pretty much confirms more or less a lot what was said in the White House Insider story, and I'll reference that down in the notes. You can read it. Jarrett's previous income, 2009 report, was $300,000 salary and $550,000 in deferred compensation. Now, what's interesting is that's a lot of money, yeah, but it's nowhere near in a league of like Warren Buffett or George Soros or any of the bigwigs out there to supposedly have a lot of influence over Obama. But she has a lot more of influence over him than I did know about until maybe yesterday, and it does make a lot of sense. Jarrett is one of President Obama's longest serving advisors in confidence and was widely tipped for a high-profile position in the Obama administration. And that she became. On November 14, 2008, President-elect Obama selected Jarrett to serve as White House senior advisor and assistant to the president for intergovernment relations and public liaison. She basically calls the shots on who gets around the president. That's what's going on from the White House Insider. She's got a lot more pull. You know what? I find this to be a very dangerous control freak that is a large ego. So, disaster in the making. So, you might find out maybe it's not Obama, but he's basically a wimp being controlled by a bitch. I'll put it in plain language. Jarrett is one of 3 senior advisors to President Obama. Valerie Jarrett reportedly took the couple under her wing. This is early on in their very early political career, and introduced them to wealthier and better connected Chicago people than their own. Taking Michelle with her, she left the mayor's office to head Chicago Department of Planning. In other words, she's been in the loop with them, guiding them from day one. Never heard of her name before. I always thought it was George Soros. And sometimes I'm wondering if this lady has goes against some of the policy by the people we think are setting policy, like George Soros and Brzezinski or whatever. And according to White House Insider, he is scared of her. And what I think is he's scared of her is because she could destroy him, because she probably knows every little damn detail there is about him. So he's a president that might make some irrational decisions. Now, what I think, though, I think that irrational decisions could very well be bullish for gold and thus silver, because times of turmoil, uncertainty, fear, people run to gold and they run to silver too. And we might see a lot of crazy events happening this year. You know, I don't want to say the sky's falling, the sky's not falling, but a lot of events that create a panic mode on fear, uncertainty, plus you have the silver pump and dumpers and a silver blog mafia out there telling everybody to get all their money into silver. Silver might do a hell of a lot better this year than you think. But anyway, if you got a lot of silver, make sure you wear it fashionably, as such as they're going to be doing in Iran pretty soon. And they're getting rid of all their little black robes and all that other garbage they wear. And dress in some decent Persian attire that would be stylish. Now, it's going to be quite an interesting year, that's all I have to say. And considering that Valerie Jarrett runs Obama, and I see her as a control freak, nut job bitch, plain language, I think we're going to have some tumultuous times coming up, and that probably is the key to why the elite might be dissatisfied with Obama. He doesn't run anything. He doesn't run anything. She's controlling who he sees, according to the White House Insider. And I'm going to post where you can read out a little more about what the White House Insider said. It's too much for me to comment on, but it makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty much confirmed with the Wikipedia story. So in terms of tumultuous times of uncertainty and irrational decisions made by a president that's probably desperate for re-election, being political survival, you might see a lot of bullishness for gold and thus silver.